is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
Are you doing Start Me Up? Name that tune with Jake and Tyler. This is Off Panel, Off Topic, number 127.
Start me up.
I'm Jake. That's Tyler.
Would stop me up and never stop.
Or should I say Mick Jagger?
No. I think most people listening wouldn't.
You know, I'm really tempted to get just that track without the vocals.
I think maybe if you had like some serious, like, neurological difficulties, you'd be like, "That's Mick Jagger," because that's not. Doesn't sound like him.
Big show.
What were you about to say?
No, I'm saying I want to make an edit of you doing the Start Me Up thing over the actual music. I mean, we can't really release it for anything,
We could.
but, can't charge for it, obviously.
No, we could play it as long as we say, "Hey, this is the Rolling Stones."
So we got some things to talk about this week. Not a lot of news, but this is going to be a little bit more of a discussion episode, talking about things.
Discuss amongst
there
yourselves.
There is some news.
Did you ever see the Mike Myers?
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
No, the sketch on Saturday Night Live where he was the coffee talk. We'll talk about coffee.
Yes.
Okay.
Never actually. I know.
I'm
what
a
it
little
is.
verklempt.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves. Here's the topic.
Coffee. Yeah. That's the kind of episode we're gonna have.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Mike
that
Myers
sounds
coffee lady episode.
No, like, discuss it amongst
Can
yourselves.
I call this episode the Mike Myers?
You should call it the verklempt episode.
Nobody's gonna get that.
We're a little verklempt.
Nobody's gonna get that, man.
You're not wrong.
It's 2023. Nobody's talking about Mike Myers but us. Did you ever watch that Cat in the Hat movie?
No.
Oof, what a movie.
I didn't watch The Grinch.
I watched that almost every
I'm
Christmas.
kind of a purist and about
cartoon's great. I'm not
about
taking away from
Dr.
you.
Seuss, and I don't really watch the cartoon either. I know from reading his biography that he really did not like a lot of the stuff that was made while he was alive. And certainly the stuff that's been made since he's died is stuff that he wouldn't have allowed to happen, to be made. So
anyway, let's get into some
Just rush right past that.
news.
You don't want to discuss how they're tarnishing Dr. Seuss's legacy with
I don't care.
all of the Grinch products. Have you seen how many Grinch products are out there?
Well, you sounds like
Hey,
the Grinch right now.
You know
You're
what?
Grinching the
The
Grinch.
Grinch got his wish. He ruined Christmas.
Yeah, well, you're ruining Christmas.
Yeah, am I?
The Grinch didn't do nothing to you. Why'd I go Boston? Hey, the Grinch? I love that guy. Anyway, let's get to the news.
Here's Hershey Kisses that I'm going to spend an extra $2 on because they're wrapped in a wrapper that I'm going to throw away before I eat this.
We got a lot. Hey,
Before I
we
eat.
have got a lot of show to cover, so let's focus.
It looks like the Grinch. Okay, let's go.
Big exciting news out of Marvel Studios.
No, I don't believe you.
This is was not originally announced for their, because I've been saying for a while that I want Marvel to step up their animation and do what DC is doing. Well, I think we're headed the right direction, because not this Friday, but the next Friday, the 22nd, we'll get What If, and that's going to come out each day. There's 9 episodes of that. We got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It was originally going to be Spider-Man freshman year. There's also the X-Men 97 shows that are going to be produced per Disney+. But this one, it was previously unannounced, kind of done under a lot of wraps. Black Panther,
Heavy
Eyes
wraps.
of Wakanda. So we're going to get a new
This looks interesting.
animated, and it looks like it's going to be in the style of the What If stuff.
Okay.
But again, that could just be shot. Actually, you know what? I don't even think that is shot to the show. I don't think they released anything. I think the shot that I was looking at was Black Panther in the What If episode.
Huh.
So we don't know what this style is going to be. So that's interesting. And it is exciting that Marvel's getting serious about animation. Can I give you a brief description of what it is? This is what they
Yes.
released to the press. So Black Panther Eyes of Wakanda is the story of brave warriors who have been tasked to travel the world retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. So I kind of love the idea of like Black Panther Black Ops.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, who are they going to have in it? I mean,
They haven't announced. This is it. They
no, I
haven't
mean like
announced
the characters.
Yeah, they
I
haven't.
know you. Yeah.
They haven't said anything, so I guess this is all speculation. But would it be?
I wouldn't. I would assume it would not be M'Baku. I'm assuming he wouldn't be in it because he's not. I mean, he doesn't like.
Yeah, see, that's
Wakanda,
the thing.
or he's been kind of against the king. And,
We don't know how this is going to tie into what Coogler's done. So
right.
So that's what's going to.
Or okay, so freshman year, is that supposed to be tied into the MCU, or rather your friendly neighborhood?
Yeah, I originally thought it was, but I don't know. I think they might be. Doing
I
their
would
own
like
thing.
them to keep the cartoons separate.
I would too.
I mean, it's weird when you see a live action interpretation of a cartoon.
It works fine for What If because you are playing with the MCU.
Yes, and it's a lot cheaper to
But-
do What If's on cartoon.
Look, man.
Shit.
Look, I
We have
gotta
to
be.
reshoot this whole sequence.
I gotta be honest. We've talked about this before. What makes them fun has to be what makes them fun in that particular medium.
Yeah.
Those Spider-Man games that I talk so much about, they work well for Spider-Man and its own continuity in this game. They're allowed to make their own universe, make their own Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always loved about video games and how they were different from, like, yeah, you had your tie-in games for a while, but you know, those Batman Arkham games are their own continuity. They're not tied to anything. They're their own universe. And I see what you're saying, where I kind of would like the idea of this to be, and the animated stuff to be just separate. And DC's also really good with doing that. But if you want to use the MCU to your advantage, that's cool. But it does run into the stuff we were talking about with Star Wars.
I wish that. Yeah,
Where,
I
you
wish
know,
they would have. I wish they would have utilized some of the cartoon stuff, the Clone Wars stuff, when they were talking about 30 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, that way it wouldn't be such like how the fuck are they going to explain where are all these characters
In 30 years.
Right, that they're not around to help against the First
they're
Order.
not involved at all in those movies.
Now, we've talked about how prequels kind of suck too, but I will say this.
I'm also a hypocrite.
Well, we were talking about Mad Max last week
Well,
or
I
whatever.
said I love Furiosa. I love
Right,
that
but
idea.
here's the other thing too. Revenge of the Sith is pretty fucking rad. Okay, I know that at the end of the movie he's going to be Darth Vader. I know that, right? But one thing I didn't know is that at one point he was just a dark or a Sith, a guy named Darth Vader. Like he wasn't, you know what I mean? You always think of Darth Vader in the suit. But at one point he was just Anakin with yellow eyes, and he had renamed himself Darth Vader. That was cool, right?
Yeah, but
So you can like prequels, and you can want them to be good, and you can be, whatever. But that's another example of like the clone of how the Ahsoka show had a lot of cartoon characters in live action, right? And that it works. I don't know that I want to have a cartoon that ties into the MCU, and then we see, can you get the person who does the voice acting, like, or do they look like that person in case you need to have them in the MCU, like in live action, shit like that. It's just a lot of work, I think. Do you think?
yeah, well, the problem you run into is if you're going to do it with Black Panther, you'd have to think that narratively, this would have been what's T'Challa's dad's name? T'Chaka. I feel like this would be something T'Chaka would do.
Right.
And so I feel like by
And there's
nature,
no indication that
like
it's present day.
It's a prequel. I feel like this is going
That's
to be
cool
a
with me.
prequel and how they tie it to the Black. Again, it runs into those things where, like, if the story, like, I keep saying again, I don't feel like my feelings towards prequels have changed because I have had complaints about the MCU where it's like they do things to be like, oh, well, did you know that Jake Gyllenhaal was in the audience in this thing from the 90s where it's not even Robert Downey Jr., he's in Civil War. You just didn't see him, even though he was not in Civil War. Or they do, and it's like just be in the present sometimes.
They've done retconning.
Yeah, but it does sound interesting, and I think it's just because we have not got a ton of like mainstream Black Panther comics or cartoons, and we've had those movies, but like we haven't had the video. Like there's a couple video games coming out about Black Panther, and like you're seeing a resurgence.
You're surprised. You're a little bit surprised that there isn't more content around this character when it's so in demand.
And this is the thing. I think a lot of this is because of Chadwick. Because of him passing away, I think that because dude, it was so obvious in Infinity War and Endgame that they were gonna put it more on him and have him be the leader, have Sam still be involved as Captain America, like still have that New Avengers thing, but he was clearly him and Carol were gonna lead it.
Yep.
Like that was gonna be their plan. And so that's why I think we're starting to see these things that were already in the pipeline start to come out and still keep the character relevant.
Kind of retooled.
Yeah. So I have two thoughts about it. I'd love it to be its own continuity, its own thing. But if you're going to do it, I think the T'Chaka angle is a good idea. Or I mean, you could do it with any Black Panther because that had been their lineage. Their lineage had always been that we're walling off the world. So you could tell it at any point of the Black Panther timeline. So, because in your own universe, you've set up that vibranium has been there for centuries.
Right.
So,
well, you start thinking about exactly. You start thinking about okay, I play that Marvel Strike Force game, which is awesome. Yeah. But they have their Wakandan team, which is Shuri, Black Panther, T'Challa. Yeah. Killmonger, Okoye, and then M'Baku. That's the Wakandan team. But then they have a couple of other characters that have come out, Nakia. And the Black Panther from Avengers 1 million BC with the skin or the panther skin, which I think is an awesome design for the character, like especially like the first one, whatever. But those are called war dogs. Now the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that's two new characters that they introduced, not a full like 5-person team, but how many other characters in the Black Panther mythos, which I am not as familiar with as others. Yeah. Can you play with? How big is the sandbox already? And I think it's okay because it's maybe not his whole not pantheon, but like everybody that he knows plus his villains, not his rogues gallery, but all of it. Is not as well known to the general public, I think, as, say, Spider-Man's. Yeah. So I think you can kind of toy with that a little bit and create characters if you need to kind of flesh that out. Certainly you could have... See, the thing that sucks about the continuity in the MCU is that in the comic books, Natasha Romanoff is like 100 years old, okay? She's been around forever. So is Captain America, so is Wolverine, right? So you had like an issue of the X-Men where it's 1932 Madripoor, okay? And it's Black Widow and Captain America and Logan like doing shit. It's fucking kick-ass. Yeah. You couldn't do that in the MCU because you can't say that, Captain America came back for a little bit at this time when this person, because Natasha Romanoff isn't 100 years old in the MCU or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, you can create different characters. You can, how much, if it's a prequel, how much like other characters in the MCU can you bring in? Is that a way to introduce the Fantastic Four and then say that they got sucked into the thing? And you know what I mean? Yeah, because you can't have another origin story, but you also got to explain why nobody knows about them, why nobody out of the universe. We all know the reason why Reed Richards and shit has never been mentioned is because they didn't own the rights to the character. We know that, right? But you got to explain to me when you bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU. I'm not sure we started talking about Black Panther.
I know we need to get back to the.
Where's the fucking sounder?
Okay.
If you're gonna bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU, you got to explain where they've been and why nobody's ever mentioned them before, and why Nick Fury was like, "You're the first superhero." Burr, burr, burr. Okay, let's go.
Jeez. Either way, I'm interested. I'm excited. I'm all for more Black Panther stuff.
Me too.
I gotta say, segueing into that, I was like just talking about the popularity of Black Panther. I'm gonna do I want to do a Trophy Dad segment on this, but DC, Warner Brothers, get off your ass, because Marvel is coming for you. They've got Black Panther, that's a Ubisoft game that's coming out. They just released Spider-Man this past year. They've got a Wolverine game from the same people that made those amazing Spider-Man games. We've got Black Panther and Captain America team-up game, like a Blade fucking game that is like kind of makes me want to get Game Pass just to play it. It's nuts, man. And like people need to just understand DC, Warner Brothers, Marvel is coming for the video game crown, because you had those Batman games for a while.
Right.
Now they're taking over.
Can I tell you one thing? Right now on Hulu, there's one of these ads, and it's from Warner Brothers. And it's saying, like, go back to the movies with these 3 soon-to-be classics this, holiday season. And it's Wonka and Aquaman and Color Purple musical.
You don't see Aquaman. I don't know.
We'll talk about that. But here's the thing. I know that you fucking destroyed like at least 2 movies that were finished. You just gave up on them for tax fucking purposes.
Yep.
So don't you fucking tell me to go back to the fucking movies or how much movies are important, because they're not even important to you, Warner Brothers, you fucking assholes.
I'm glad you said that. We're gonna
fuck you guys.
Hey, we're gonna segue into that.
God,
so
piss me off.
Over the weekend,
check out these movies. These are the 3 we saved out of it.
Over the weekend,
no.
Over the weekend, Watchmen, the HBO series, was removed off of Max. You know what's really annoying is calling HBO Max and Twitter X. I hate doing it, and I'm not doing it. It got taken off HBO Max.
Whenever I hear anybody say Twitter you're never going to hear me go, hey, on Twitter or X or whatever, I'm never going to say that. I'm always going to go Twitter.
Fuck you.
I hear people say like X or Twitter or whatever these people are calling it, or whatever who's calling it, I don't even go that far, man. Twitter. I'm never going to call it X.
Anyway.
Even though I just did.
So it was taken off of HBO Max, and then people started posting about it on Twitter being, what the fuck? Because it showed it was like leaving soon, and they were taking it off the platform.
Yeah, why?
And people were like, this was a really stupid decision. But it's since been fixed. It got fixed like the next day.
Do you just have a limited amount of space on your servers or something?
So this is what HBO's statement was, or an insider.
Let me guess. Was it, we're dicks? Sorry, we're dicks.
I believe this is from the Hollywood Reporter. The critically acclaimed show had seemingly been removed from Max's streaming service, but it looks like it was a brief, stressful error. It has now been resolved and is available to stream once again. So Warner Brothers are saying, hey, it was a technical glitch. But here's the problem. Like you just said, it's really, really hard for me to believe that you were telling the truth, because it really feels like you were just kind of pushing off the platform, trying to pretend nobody would notice or anybody would care. And then when they did, you're like, oh, it was a glitch. Now, it could very well have been a glitch, but I'm like we've just said, you've killed finished, done movies. You've destroyed them for tax purposes. So it would not surprise me that you would take one of the best shows on your platform and get rid of it, because it would not, I'm not surprised. And I will say it right now, financially, Walter Hamada and that previous creative lead did not help. I mean, Warner Brothers is in debt. But at least they're trying something.
Right.
At least they were doing something.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't perfect. Like the Snyderverse and all that, it's all wonky and everything. But like with the Batgirl idea and putting that on Max and like HBO Max, God damn it, they got me. Putting it on HBO Max and making it for HBO Max and being like, we're gonna make this a lower budget superhero movie. Because I got to tell you,
People would have fucking watched it.
I'm sick and tired of talking about things like the Marvels. And I don't want to talk negatively about these things. Because maybe, just maybe, guys, not every fucking movie is going to make $1 billion. Because you're making them with... Why do you need $250 million to make some movies when you look at things like Godzilla -1 and how good that looked with like $13 million? And you I understand, like we've talked about, I understand it's different in Japan and America with money and actors and all that shit.
I'm disappointed we don't have video this week because you're
I'm
gesticulating. You're gesticulating wildly.
What does that say about David Zaslav, and what does it say about how this company is run recently that none of us thought it was a technical glitch? We believed it. We were absolutely certain of it. Because you know why? I watched Shazam, Fear of the Gods, on Netflix.
Why?
Because Warner Brothers is just licensing off their shit. Because they are...
So what was the fucking point of the goddamn rebrand to Max? Why did you spend all that money? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Because David Zaslav is a moron.
Yes.
He is a moron. And it continues to show time and time again he does not know what he's doing. At all. When you were brought in, and I'm telling you, he was just brought in to fucking tank this company and tank it, sell it, because I saw that it was 60% chance of bankruptcy. And they're all this money in debt.
Why?
And it's like, maybe you could have had HBO Max subscribers if you released that Batgirl movie. Good, bad, doesn't matter, because you know how this world works now. Any attention is attention. So if people thought it sucked, they're going to roast it and they're going to make podcasts. You're listening to one that would do it. You know what I mean?
What is the purpose of destroying a company over years?
And why not just, again... There's something to be said for quality, and we should always strive for quality and good movies and good stories.
Yes.
But at least give these people a chance to fail.
Yes.
And when you put them in a position where they're, because we know, I've never worked in the movie business, but I know just by watching documentaries and seeing what other filmmakers had to go through, it's not an easy business to get into. Mm-mm. And then give people a chance, work on a property that people are familiar with, and then cut them out, pull the rug out from under them and say, we're done.
Just makes me sad.
I know this is such a big tangent for this topic, but it just, again, I just wanted to talk about this and how frustrated I've been.
Well, I don't understand. As far as I know, you can't, carry tax liabilities over year to year. Or defer them for 5. And this guy has been doing this for how many years now?
How much does Zaslav hate that fucking Batgirl movie where he couldn't shop? Because also, shopping out the Wile E. Coyote movie is not helping. Nobody's picking that up. Moron. You know what you are? You're a moron. You think you're... brilliant! But
we're just...
Come on, you got it. You could do it. Nothing?
No.
Woo yeah! Woo yeah!
What's next?
You know what would have been a better segue?
I don't want to depress that guy.
What? All right, one final news topic, and then we'll get into the discussion. Have you heard this story, Tyler? Because I was going to say it real fast, and then you yawned.
A pirate walks into a bar.
Yeah. Anyway,
with a steering wheel
two
in his
of the
pants.
biggest, I would arguably say some of the biggest toy sellers in the world, at least in America, are going to be teaming up. Hasbro is teaming up with McFarlane Toys.
Oh, yeah, this was exciting to me.
Oh, well, so I wanted to talk about this because I thought this was going to be an iffy topic because you and I haven't really talked about
yeah,
toys
but I'm a toy
and
nerd. You know I love Legos.
This is almost like an impromptu non-video collector's edition.
Well, okay, right. So, before we get too much into that, I Hasbro was extremely smart in the 80s. They had 2 cartoons, which were essentially 30-minute commercials for these toys. And then they had writers who were really good writers fleshing out all of these stories, not just in the cartoons, but in the comic books and in the little cards on the back. The little data cards for each character. It's fucking cool. It's deep shit. For a little kid, like you're a little creative kid, you're like, this is cool.
It's cute.
It's cute. There's like Hasbro Super 7s. There's been almost a renaissance of action figures now. You can with the advent of 3D printers, you can make almost any sort of action figure you want.
Dude.
They have Transformers that are literally like just the Star Wars style, like
Dude.
4 pieces of articulation. And they don't transform, of course, but they're from the cartoon. They look like the cartoon, like the first series.
Have you seen? First of all, the 3D printing thing, true. Like it's. So
We need to
cool.
get one of those.
Well,
I'll go have these.
One of the guys I was playing D&D with, he had one, and I just I designed my character in Hero Forge, sent him the image, and he built it for me. I like made the character. I'm like, that's so cool. But have you also seen that fucking Optimus Prime toy that like transforms by itself? Like you hit a button. And
Yes, which
like
is
$60,
cool
$70,
as hell.
But I could not justify spending that much.
I bought the Lego Optimus Prime, which was awesome too.
But that's interesting that we were talking about Transformers because that is what the partnership is going to be. So McFarlane Toys is doing a thing called Page Punchers, where they're putting comic books with toys and which is a cool idea. I like that too, where it's like trying to get comic books in more people's hands, and I always appreciate that.
Well, one of the things I do like, and so my brother started sending me action figures when I was in my 20s every year for my birthday. He would send me like a really cool like retro action figure because at that time they were hard to find, or it wasn't as big as today, but whatever. So I would get like a Masters of the Universe one year, and then one year I'd get like a G.I. Joe and stuff. And one year, when I was in my 30s, I was probably drunk, and I was like, I'm kind of bored. And this was before streaming and all, internet stuff. So all I had to do was like, I had a ton of these boxed up, still in the box action figures. And so I took like 3 of them out just to kind of look at them and, actually play with them. And what I figured out is that whatever part of my brain that was able to sit and imagine and pretend that these were actual the imagination that allows you to play with toys like they're real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that anymore.
Well,
When I build a
don't
Lego,
think so.
I build the Lego and then I just kind of look at it.
Well,
and
yeah,
I'm like, that's cool.
As an adult, you just put it on your shelf.
But toys are really fucking cool, man.
Well,
I love looking at toys. When we go to Jay's, I could fucking spend hours in that place, man.
So that's what's exciting. So early 24, the collaboration will begin. So McFarlane Toys is going to collaborate with Hasbro to make Transformers and G.I. Joe products.
Awesome. Have you seen the Cobra Mothership on Super 7? Because they do these things where you pay like $450 to be a backer.
Well,
I'll show you out for the air. It's really fucking cool.
Other Page Puncher toys are going to be Power Rangers, which is pretty cool, and Dungeons and Dragons.
Unless it's a cartoon.
Well, D&D franchises to follow at a later date. So pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited about that because
I love toys. I wish I could afford more of them.
That's honestly the most exciting thing about having a kid is. It's like I've talked about several times on this show.
Not quite yet though, because he's young enough that like the toys aren't that cool yet. They're really blocky and big, so that he doesn't like swallow them. He hasn't gotten to this level. That's like 6-7 years old.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to spend money on like a $200 statue or something.
No.
But if I could find a good deal on a toy, I'll and by the way, I'm not a collector. I don't leave it in the box. I take it out and put it and display it. I want it to look a certain way.
I have some stuff that I've tried to collect. Like, there's a couple of bagged. I have from the first Avengers movie, a bagged Lego, and it's Captain America's motorcycle. And that's pretty old. The problem with those is that they were originally like $4. And even after like 10 years, they're like $6. Man, those, and you can look at it and be like, that's like a 200% value jump in value. Yeah, but it was originally $4.
All right.
If you want to make it like $100, that's going to have to be like a 1,087 billion% value jump in value. Why do you keep letting me talk? Why do you keep letting me talk?
I was like, he's got to get it. Like, I just
fucking hate you.
Tyler, let's
You
go
know
to
what? No more of this for you then.
Well, let's go into a segment we haven't done in a while.
Probably for a good reason.
Guilty pleasure.
Wait, is it guilty pleasure?
Yeah. Well, we got two of them because
We got guilty pleasure and long box,
yes,
right?
we have both because it's a shorter. It's a
Okay, good.
not as news heavy.
I was thinking there was like a third thing that I'm like, I'm not prepared for that.
That's a separate thing. We are going to have Die Hard December. Die Hard 2. Die Harder. That's coming up Sunday, December 17th. Honestly, I'm really excited for Die Hard with a Vengeance. I can't wait to watch that. But we'll get to that next week. Yeah, guilty pleasure. Tyler, you've been wanting to talk about this
one away?
for a week. So, yeah. I literally throw to you, and you're like, no, I got to hack this.
Hang on a second. Let me
Hack my lungs out.
Let me go ahead and get some lung butter up first.
Lung butter.
You got any toast? I'm surprised you just let me have the mic this long. All right. So, free Tibet. All right. They're playing me off now. God damn it. I want to thank my mom. Rabble. Okay. So, my guilty pleasure is a movie that, let me put it this way. I was talking to a friend of mine and about this, and I was saying how I have a contentious relationship with this movie, and she said, I have a contentious relationship with Chevy Chase. And that's a fair thing, because you know what? Chevy Chase is a dick. He's a dick. He's always been a dick. And I'm surprised he had a career for as long as he did. Even though a lot of his movies are still entertaining to me, he was a dick. And you can tell, like, watching him on screen that he was not nice. You know what I mean? You can just tell, right?
Yeah, he's Chevy Chase and you're not.
Basically. But so Funny Farm is this movie about, he's a sports writer and he moves. I don't know where he gets all this money. His wife must be loaded because he is a sports writer at a newspaper. He can't afford this shit.
Maybe on the side he's
Whip,
swing a web. Spider-Man. I tried to shoehorn that drop in. I apologize. You know what? I deserve this.
Oh, fuck you. Yeah, you do. So he moves to upstate New York, a place called Redbud. And it's this little tiny town. Don't get me wrong, like on the surface, it's like I would love that. You know, you basically have this huge house, this gigantic grounds. You have a lake of your own, basically, like a pond, right? And like it's out in the middle of nowhere, but there's still a town down the road, so you can go get groceries and shit. Like that would be ideal. That's where I want to end up, right? But then
You say you wanted to end up on a funny farm?
No, because that's probably what they saw when they went and bought. Yeah, please do. Ew, fuck you. What they saw when they went out to look at the property when they bought it is what I'm thinking, right? But then they get there and everything starts going to shit. The furniture doesn't get there the first night, so they have to sleep on the floor, like hardwood floors everywhere because it's an old house, right?
Yeah.
They find a dead body buried in the backyard at some point. Instead of fish in the pond, it's like eels and shit and water snake. Like it's awful. Like everything is awful. Everything that can go wrong will and does. Have you seen the movie?
Bits and pieces. I've never actually watched it all the way through.
But it's just, for whatever reason, it's not one of his best. I think it was one of his better performing at the box office, I think. But fuck you, HBO Max, because like for a long time, I couldn't get it anywhere. I couldn't find Funny Farm without paying for it.
And I love that movie, but I will not pay.
I won't. I fucking will not pay.
Hey, same boat.
I will not pay
man.
for Max. You know what I would like to do? I'd like to watch the first 8 seasons of Aqua Teen Hunger Force over and over again while I'm doing stuff on my computer and whatnot. You know, while I'm
whacking it.
No, I don't watch TV while I'm doing that. Like while I'm like,
that's just me time.
it's distracting.
I don't want to go flaccid while I'm watching.
If I'm like writing notes about the music. I like to have something on in the background. If I'm cleaning up my room, if I'm organizing something, I like to have something on in the background. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force is one of my favorites because it's great. but I'm not paying for Max.
But where's
for it.
Funny Farm now, Tyler?
On fucking Max. Son of a bitch.
Did you buy it?
Right? No, I will not get Max. I don't give a shit.
Well, why don't you just come over and watch it with me once? You know, let's do a
I
commentary.
don't really like it over here.
Funny Farmentary.
No, but it's not one of his better movies, whatever the fuck that is. But again, whenever the subject of Chevy Chase comes up, I always bring up Funny Farm, and most people who are pro Chevy Chase are like, "Oh, really? You know, come on, man. You got Fletch, and you got, this other movie, and then this other movie, and then this one movie." I don't know any other movies than Fletch and Funny Farm.
Sloppy.
Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Caddyshack 2. Another great movie that
is
is.
he in that movie?
I'll talk about that next week. Yes, he is. And we'll talk about
Oh,
Caddyshack 2 next week on Guilty Pleasures on Up Panel Off Topics.
Sexy. That's guilty pleasure. Drop.
Coming up,
I didn't even get it with mine.
Coming up, we'll have traffic. No,
On the five.
On the fives. Every day of the fives. Sexy.
It's Tyler.
Oh.
Sorry, Tyler. Tyler and I were
There's
exposed to a
carbon
carbon
dioxide.
monoxide leak.
Monoxide?
Monoxide? Yeah.
Monoxicillin.
There's still effects.
Not a fucking even. It was a tasteless, odorless gas that caused us to lose our minds.
So Tyler, my guilty pleasure.
And I'm done with my guilty pleasure. What's yours?
Mine. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
That's the sounder that I just did right now again. You didn't hear it earlier? Mine is for the season.
I thought you were making
mine
random
is
like
for
on
the season.
On air like sound bites like the Zoo Crew would during that whole thing. I didn't know it was an actual sounder you were trying to make. And by the way, it's a cat and a whip and a guy going sexy. You can't make that up in your free time.
It's supposed to be about.
No, I know, but
having sex with him.
I know that, but you can cut something
All
like
right,
that.
mine is holiday themed. To stop you.
Ding, ding, ding.
This is what happens when we do a relaxed conversational episode.
I like it.
Take your shoes off. Have a good time.
Take your shoes off. Hey, but you can leave your hat on.
Let your hair down.
No, it's a Joe Cocker song. You can leave your hat on.
Jingle All the Way is the movie that I want to talk
Phil
about.
Hartman's in that.
Yes, he is. Thank you,
It's like
IMDb.
one of his last.
That's a sketch.
projects.
Your IMDb in real life.
Here's a,
Phil Hartman's in that.
one of his last projects before he died.
Yeah. I think I talked about it last year when we did our top 5 Christmas movies with Luke. But I love this movie because it's so bad. Like, it's terrible. Hence the name Guilty Pleasure.
Mm. I've heard from people who actually like it.
Yes.
Are those people stupid?
Me.
You are?
No. I don't watch it. I only watch it occasionally, and that's just for the there's a drinking game.
Okay.
And if you you have to drink every time there's a Santa hat on screen. Excuse me.
It seems like you'd be dead before 10 minutes.
Well, that's the point. But see, that's the thing. There's the warehouse Santa fight scene.
Oh, my gosh.
So you got to drink. If you really want to play by the rules, you got to do that. No, I just love the movie because I fucking love Sinbad. Okay? I've always loved Sinbad. I'm a 90s bitch. All right? I grew up with Sinbad.
Did you ever see Necessary Roughness?
Yes.
Awesome.
We're
talking about that
the
next
Texas
week.
State
We're talking about that
Armadillos.
next week. We're talking about that next week.
Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it, so I'm going to love it. You know, those are my cookies. You've seen it, right?
I've never seen Jingle All
No
the Way.
way!
Not even bits.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Dude. No, fuck all that. That's the movie we need to watch next week. Because that is a holiday classic. You got Phil Hartman
saying how it's not that great.
No, it isn't, and that's what's going to be fun about watching this movie with you. Got it, Tyler?
Oh, hey, you know that another Chevy Chase movie is all the National Lampoon Vacation movies. Jesus Christ, we just fucking pasted over those.
Is that the one where he?
I'll eat your ass.
And it was a sandwich. What now?
Anyway.
Keep going with your guilty. So
Yeah. No,
but
well, now I don't want to spoil it.
No. I want you to tell me. I want you to explain to me. Not. I don't want you to give me a recap, but give me the plot. Because wait, let me tell you what I think it's about first.
The fact that you didn't know Sinbad was in it.
This will be good though. From what I understand, this movie is a fight between two dads. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one. You don't say no. You
Actually,
let me finish.
It is between two dads. You're right. You go on. Continue.
You are bad at this game. Stop. Let me finish, and then you tell me all boys.
It's my guilty pleasure.
I know, but I want to make you laugh.
Okay.
I want to make you laugh with how way off I am.
I can't believe you've never seen this movie.
Because I bet you I'm way off. Well, not so far.
We'll find out when you
watch
watch
the movie. It's a war
movie.
between two dads.
Okay.
Over a particular toy that they can't find anywhere in town, but they somehow are able to, like through wacky adventures, they're able to find one of them. And they're trying to fight over it until Christmas. And I guess Sinbad's in it.
That's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. In the most basic plot line, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a shitty dad and forgot to get a toy for his son. And through wacky hijinks, he tries to get the toy. And the second dad is not Phil Hartman. It's Sinbad.
So Phil Hartman is who? Is he a bit part?
He's his neighbor that's like seems to like be putting the moves on his wife. Or trying to anyway. He's like overly friendly. In a Phil Hartman way, you know.
See, that's why I never wanted to see it
like
because there's no real
You're gonna watch this damn movie. With
if
me.
you want good Phil Hartman, you watch SNL from when he was on there, or you watch
radio.
Yes,
I know.
You don't watch any of his movies because he's always a bit part and he's always kind of playing the same. He's an auxiliary. He was best in the movies. He was best as a bit player.
He is in Small Soldiers. He's fantastic. I think World War II is my favorite war.
I've never seen that.
What? Everything
Why would I
else-
want to see a movie with bad CGI? Or was it
for a movie made in
claymation?
'98?
Is it claymation? I think it was claymation.
What I'm saying with
Small
Jingle All the
Soldiers.
Way.
I got what I paid for.
Nobody said Schwarzenegger comedies were good. Okay? But
You've never seen Twins.
see, this is the problem with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And I've never seen Junior.
Hear me out. I love this dude, but he just can't help how Austrian sounding he is. And so when you take him out of an action movie, and I'm not saying anything about his acting ability. I don't think he's a bad actor at all. I'm just saying it just always feels so weird. You know what I mean?
Whenever he portrays in a movie, and he has a bunch of times, a military serviceman from the U.S., he's always got a very basic sounding name, but it's like, my name is John Matrix. You know, like, no, it's not.
Quaid.
What?
Get you.
I'm Richard Kimball. Is he?
I'm Randy Quaid. I know it's not Randy Quaid.
Richard Kimball is his name in Kindergarten Cop, right?
I think so. The underrated Schwarzenegger movie.
Great movie.
Underrated.
It's not a tumor.
But this Arnold movie, Jingle All the Way.
Are you still talking about it?
Well, I was just going to wrap up what I was saying about it, where it is in essence a true guilty pleasure for me. Just like when we started the segment when I did Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, I completely understand if someone watches that movie and does not like it.
Right.
But it's still a piece of my childhood where and again, I've always loved anything Schwarzenegger's in. I love him. It's going to be a sad day when he passes on. And then he's going to say to me before he goes,
get your ass to Mars.
that's right. Tyler, it's that time.
Oh, God.
It's a long box. I think I should go first since you went first last time.
Okay.
All right, Tyler, video game time, so earmuffs because you're going to be fucking bored by it.
If I can afford a video game system, man, maybe I would play.
Dude,
But then I wouldn't be making my music, so it's fine. Go for it.
Wow.
Well, I probably wouldn't if I'm spending my time playing video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thought to quit and go do music would not probably occur to me if I'm really into a video game, and I can get really into video games. I'm saying.
Anyway. Again, why do I let you
what was
go?
that
I need to
noise?
rein you in more, man. I don't
Fuck you!
So God of War Ragnarok,
Saw your tweet.
which I have reviewed on our YouTube channel. I've talked about a lot because I love the franchise. Excuse me, I had to clear my
What the
throat.
fuck is wrong with you today?
I don't know. I'm all congested. Has it like a movie trailer voice? Congested this summer. I can't breathe. God of War Ragnarok. I love that game. It was announced at the Video Game Awards that it had a bonus mode, free DLC, free bonus content,
What's the DLC?
downloadable content. So it's like bonus stuff after the game's already been out for a while.
So here's 20% of the game, and we're gonna
Honestly, no. I think
charge you for
because
the
it's-
other 80% over the course of 6 months.
this is
with
free.
DLC.
This is a free download,
Okay.
completely free.
That's good.
Which is the best thing about it.
Right.
It's completely free.
Yes.
And just what they have done with it for it being free is fucking bonkers. Like, so to describe this game, I don't want to spoil Ragnarok, but it's kind of like an epilogue to that. But how it starts is Kratos is entering Valhalla. He gets an invite to come to Valhalla, so he's entering Valhalla. He rips open the doors to Valhalla, goes in, and you fight. It's an arena, and then he dies. And then he wakes up on the shore, and then Freya, who has been with him and throughout the game, and the Valkyries show up, and they're like, why did you come here all alone? And then he shows him a letter, and it says, Ghost of Sparta, something, something, master yourself, master Valhalla, master yourself, or whatever. Ghost of Sparta is his old name from Greece. He goes into you go into Valhalla, and you do all this stuff, and just all the story beats that are in it and put into it, again, are absolutely insane to be in a free DLC. Like, it's nuts that I don't have to pay for this, because this isn't just a new mode. This is extra story. This is a deeply personal story. It matters. It makes sense. It ties things back to the original games. Like, oh my God, man. I was literally playing a level because it's built from Kratos' memories is how this Valhalla works. And it's a rogue so if you die, that just restart. You're just in a loop. It restarts another run. And then you upgrade different things and just you try different strategies to beat it. But there's such this cool story, and it's tied to his past and his memories. So you're playing things from the original games in Greece, and it's fucking cool. I'll do a full review on our YouTube channel, but like I didn't know what to expect. I honestly just thought it'd be an interesting, cool, extended like combat arena. But to find it have so much story and meaningful story to the character, like just kind of blew me away. And this is only me playing for about an hour. You have no context for this, but like there is
I know.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
But
That's about it.
there's a moment where you got the severed head of Mimir on your hip. You'd have to play the games to know the full context, but anyway, when you finish each run, you enter another cutscene and you get more of the past. So like the first time you go through, it's just the throne, and it's the same throne that he sits on at the end of the first game or the beginning of the second game, and you're like, oh shit, that's cool, that's awesome. And then you hear a voice. And it's like, Kratos, this was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Go through, do another run. And this is what's so cool about it. It's so fun and engaging. Like, I don't mind the fact that I'm just going through and doing the same shit.
So wait, you're doing the same shit over and over
Well, it's
again?
a loop, but there's different buffs. So like you can like, okay, this run I'm going to focus on my blades. This run I'm going to focus on my axe, or I'm going to focus on the spear, or you're using different tactics with different difficulty every time you do it. But the second run through in that throne is the head of Helios, because in the third game you rip his head off.
Okay.
So he talks to you instead of your usual companion, and like you go through and you play the Greek thing, and it reminds you of how violent and callous those first Greece games are, and how like violent and epic and aggressive these are, but you really see how the character's grown. And it's really fucking cool. And then there's one moment, and I'll finish what I'm talking about. I'm playing it, and I go into, like, they have this thing called the rage mode. You know, you can just give berserk and beat him up, and you're just strong. When he does it, it forms the Blade of Olympus, which was like this the weapon that was used to take his godly powers, and it's his weapon he used to kill Zeus. He just spawns it, and you're swinging it around and hitting him like you were in that third game. And I literally said out loud while playing it, while I'm smiling, like, what the fuck? Like, out loud, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I could not believe it. I said when Ragnarok came out, it's probably my favorite game of all time. This just makes my favorite game even better. I fucking love it. I can't wait to do a full review on it. Tyler, your turn.
All right, new season of Fargo. One of the things I really like about Fargo is that sometimes the season, it's an anthology series. Sometimes the seasons interconnect with others. For instance, the first season is a lady cop and her dad, a retired cop. And the second season, Patrick Wilson plays that cop when he was younger.
Oh, okay.
And Ted Danson plays his father-in-law. And they're both cops. Brad Garrett's in it. Who else is in? Kieran Culkin. Kirsten Dunst is in that season. But it's all the quirkiness that you come to expect from the Coen brothers. You know how things can go just so wrong. What's a movie that? One of the movies that I really enjoy that just you can see how things can go so wrong with something is the movie Fargo. You know, it's not a true story. They put that at the beginning of the movie, and it faked a lot of people out, actually. But you see how it's ordinary people getting involved with extraordinary circumstances. And how do they handle that? There's one cop her name is Olmsted. I think Indira Olmsted, I think, is her character's name. But she has a husband who's a golf pro. It's just a bunch of shit. But she evokes Frances McDormand's character from the movie very, very, very well. She's a newer actress, but she is really, really good at conveying, you know, all the things that you need to convey this character who is in debt because her husband's trying to be a pro golfer. She's trying, you know, it's a tough situation for anybody to be in, and she's playing it really, really well. Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this one. John Hamm, Dave Foley, Juno Temple's in it. I can't remember who else. A bunch of other people, but it's been really good so far. They have. From time to time, the Fargo series will have references from the movie or from other Coen Brothers movies. There is the occasional supernatural aspect, but not quite supernatural, if you will. Like the character in Raising Arizona, Randall Tex Cobb's character. It was implied kind of that he was supernatural a little bit, but it was never said.
Yeah.
You know, but you could, you know what I mean? Like that. There's a character in this season who is very much like that. And it is very much implied that this guy is 300 years old and that he's never going to die. Right. So, but there's a part where they're going towards this guy's office. He owns a dealership. And in the Fargo movie, the guy's like, you told me I didn't have to get that True Coat. And he gets so mad that he says, fucking liar. And his wife's like, Han. You remember that part in the movie?
Yeah.
And he literally doesn't go to ask. He just goes to ask that guy if he's got Gophers tickets. You kidding? He goes like, I'll tell you what, we're going to knock $100 off of that True Coat for you. You know? And he's like, you're a liar. You're a fucking liar, you know?
Yeah.
So they're going towards this guy's office, and they hear the overhead guy, and he goes, and he's just talking, doing, you know, promotions like overhead speaker shit with the music, and don't forget about that True Coat special, folks, you know?
Fucking liar.
which is really funny because there's a lot of scenes in this hospital.
And they're wearing true coats.
No, that's funny, but no, they're in this hospital a lot, and there's a patient who is waiting to get 6 feet of his intestines removed because he has cancer, and he is very much a callback to that character in the movie Fargo who gets so incensed that he says fucking. But this guy, it's hard to explain, but he keeps coming to the door of his room like, I was told that I was going to get a sponge bath. You guys are taking out 6 feet of my goddamn intestine because I have fucking cancer. I expect at least a sponge bath. I've been waiting 3 to 4 hours. You know, it's that kind of breaking point of a Minnesota nice person that calls back. So there's 2 examples that call back to that particular movie. But again, there's callbacks to all Coen Brothers movies. And if you don't look at it, when it first came out, I was like, this is stupid. Why are you having a sequel series to it? You know what I mean? The movie's good on its own. But every season is different. Every season has its own quirkiness. It's great characters. There's the normal characters just trying to get by in normal life. And then there's extraordinary characters. And that's the fun of watching these 2 types of characters interact and just be intertwined. And how do they deal with each other? Just like the first movie. So I really urge you to play it. I really urge you to play Fargo, the video game, for PlayStation. It's a Sony-owned property.
Sue that God of War game. Get yourself a Fargo.
Get yourself a Fargo, and you can get, Han, I'll make you some eggs.
It's a button. You just hit.
Make eggs. Siri, make eggs.
No, you gotta say Alexa, make eggs. Somebody's Alexa is gonna make some eggs right now.
Wait, they can fucking do that? Holy fucking shit.
What else can you do, Alexa? Bring the whole world to
Alexa,
its
play Rick Astley.
I'll give you
I just rickrolled our whole fucking audience.
Got him, dude. You got him.
Hey, none of us can afford Alexa, you dick stain.
I have one.
Yeah, well, we're the rich podcast hosts.
Nobody will. That's why it's funny, because nobody will sponsor us. Why would you? Have you heard this episode?
Never gonna sponsor you. Never gonna give you cash. Never gonna.
No, you gotta do it in this tune. Never gonna give you up.
No.
Why not?
No.
Think we're gonna get sued?
No.
No. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
You ain't got no money.
If you'll step off to your left, you can get off this ride.
Money. Why don't you have some cash and put some in my pocket? I need to get some cigarettes.
Singing? Why are you singing?
Maybe you can get
You look like that dude that's like clearly on meth outside the gas station. His pajamas like,
hey,
I'm going to ask you to be in this
cigarette,
cup.
maybe some beers, maybe some change. Do you have 15 cents? Do you have 27 cents? Do you have 30?
Why 27?
Do you have
That's an
31
oddly
cents?
specific
Do you have
number,
31
sir.
cents?
31. Why do you keep picking odd numbers? It's weird.
Do you have 79 cents?
79. Just say 80 cents.
I don't need 80 cents. I need
What about a
79.
5 or a 0? How about that? How about that, please? Like a normal person.
Do you have 11 cents? Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.